Okay, I did not expect Octopath Traveler 0 to be this good. Square Enix gave me an early code to play this very long game, and listen, I hate mobile games. And this one is based on Champions of the Continent, so while I loved Octopath 1 and 2, the mobile foundation here had me a little concerned. But somehow, they straight Uno reversed me on this one. So I'm going to tell you why, after putting 50 plus hours into this game, completely rebuilding Wishvale from scratch, getting through major portions of the story, and, you know, becoming addicted to grinding again, because why not? This may be the best Octopath Traveler game to date. Before we get into it, if you're a fan of retro games with a major dose of RPGs and nostalgia, then why don't you vow revenge on that subscribe button, because this video is going to be so fire that it's going to burn your village to the ground. Sorry about that. Also, don't forget to hit that like button and that notification bell. All right, let's get into it. Octopath Traveler 0 is fundamentally different than Octopath Traveler 1 and 2. While I am a huge fan of the series in general, if I'm being objective, one of the biggest weaknesses so far is the context switching between characters. If you want a full party in those games, you basically have to seek out everybody's chapter 1, but when you go back to any other single character story, you're kind of flip-flopping, and the other characters are just kind of in the background. Now, to be fair, Octopath Traveler 2 took a major step forward by including party chats and other ways of integrating the characters together, such as special combined character stories, etc. And the ending of that game brings it all together in a brilliant way. And as much as there's so many strong points that I absolutely love about these games, the path actions, the music, the incredible turn-based strategy, etc., that story presentation just isn't for everybody. Octopath Traveler 0 comes in and kind of shakes things up a little bit. This game takes such a different approach that it's almost not the same type of game at all, at least not in story structure. We begin our journey as your character avatar, who I lovingly named Nova. And Nova happens to love braised beef, because why not? Nova, or whatever you'll name him or her in this game, is the centerpiece of the story. The game begins with the tragedy of Wishvale, and they make you feel it. You spend time getting to know some of the townsfolk, getting a sense of the community, and then 3 random psychopaths come in and burn the place to the ground. And this kicks off your journey. You, the chosen one, set off to follow between 2 distinct paths that have multiple quests per path. On one hand, you can focus on rebuilding Wishvale from scratch and restoring what was lost, and on the other hand, you can hunt those psychopaths down and burn them to the ground. But we're still kind of the good guys, right? Right? Initially, I thought this was going to be like an either-or situation, but it's actually both. The story assumes that you're going to rebuild Wishvale from scratch, but the level and other requirements for those Wishvale quests also assume that you've done your job and burnt your enemies to the ground as well. So while there are separate paths, what distinguishes this game from the others is that there is no hard context switching here. Sure, you're going to meet different characters and there will be different goals for each storyline, but it's all about your single hero, the chosen hero, and how they come alongside those others to fulfill those quests. This gives you a much more coherent story path that feels more like a traditional RPG than the other 2 Octopath games. And I'll get back to some of these unhinged stories in a bit, but first, the characters and the battle system. Characters can be recruited from all across the realm of Vorstera, which is the continent of the first Octopath Traveler. As you find new locations, towns, finish quests, etc., you'll have opportunities to do these character quests to add them to your party. And before long, you'll have a full party of 8. This almost recontextualizes what Octopath even means, and honestly, this is my favorite implementation of the battle system in the entire series. If you've been around this channel for a while, I talked about getting to play the preview of PAX West, and I felt kind of mixed about it. Overall, I was very excited, but getting a handle on that 8-person party was a little bit rough with no context or understanding of how all of this works together. Like, I didn't even know you could switch between the front and the back row until after playing for a little while. But the full game builds into the full 8-person party, and once you get a hang of it, which is not very difficult, the battle strategizing is incredible. And every time you get a new character, it's very easy to determine whether or not you want to swap some in, make some changes, etc. Honestly, there's been a lot of great turn-based games that have come out this year, but this is one of my favorite setups. As you progress, characters will learn new skills, and you can find skills that you can attach to them outside of their standard kit, and then you can swap them in on the fly in battle. You'll feel that this is a really strong battle system almost right out the gate, but it just keeps getting better and better and better as you go. To start, like the older Octopath games, you'll gain job points to learn new battle skills. And these are skills like your standard kit, like magic, multi-hit attacks, healing. And as you unlock these, you'll gain support skills for the job for each character, like physical or elemental attack plus 50 or something like that. These can have a pretty major impact on your strategy for each of the characters, but then you start unlocking ultimate techniques, and these can really impact which characters you want to use in your 8-person party. Some of the early characters have really decent skill kits, but their ultimate techniques will equate to, a really good 2-turn evade, which may not be that helpful in many cases, whereas there are other characters that have their ultimate techniques that do stupid amounts of damage. I found that building my team around 1 or 2 decent supports with a bunch of damage dealers worked out quite well, since the main hero, or Nova in my case, has multiple ultimate techniques, including healing. And on top of that, the main character can also change between 8 classes. So there's a lot of versatility, a lot of variety here for building some crazy party setups. And as your roster grows, like I said, you'll start wanting to build out specific characters to fill a gap in your party, or because their ultimate techniques are just way too good to ignore. And it's this element in this game that makes it the Octopath game. You're not following 8 different character stories anymore. You are following a single story with multiple quests, but you're bringing 8 characters with you in every single battle, and it's brilliant. It keeps the story focused on the hero and the companions they engage with through those specific story arcs, keeping it more coherent, but you're traveling with those 8 other characters, many of which come in and out of the stories themselves. And you may see some familiar faces along the way. I may or may not have squealed out loud when I saw some characters and heard their themes again. Oh, and the music! Oh my gosh, holy smokes. This is so good. Like, we got some new stuff in this game, but you will hear themes from Octopath 1 and 2, and when they hit, they hit. Like, I kid you not, I still listen to this music on the regular. I have a playlist for gaming music that I listen to when I'm recording or editing or whatever, and Octopath has been there almost since day one, and it's so good in this game. Anyway, I like music. Moving on. If you're not familiar with the Octopath turn-based system, this game is very similar to the Bravely Default series. You get BP or battle points each turn, or more if there are skills or passives that can boost this. And you can either attack multiple times with these boost points, or you can boost the power of one big attack. Along with this, each enemy has weaknesses that can be revealed with a lock number. Once you hit them in the weak point, like X number of times, they will break. And this is when you can cash in some massive damage. So most of the battles, especially boss battles, have a reoccurring strategy. Aim to break them as fast as you can and then nuke them with your best hits. Now, what makes it interesting in this game is because you have an 8-person party, you can mix and match which weapons go where, and you can get skills that have multi-hits. There are some skills that will hit between like 4 and 10 times. So while some of the bosses will have a much higher lock number than anything that you've seen in Octopath 1 or 2, you can also build some crazy teams that will just blast through them. There's an amazing mage in the very beginning of this game that you can recruit that also has the ability to reveal their vulnerabilities. And she also gets multi-hit like lightning attacks. So I equipped her with a 4-hit lightning attack, and when she goes into battle, she not only does major damage, but she also shows me the vulnerabilities so that I don't have to guess. You tie that together with big hitters and getting skills like 1,000 Spears, which can hit like 10 times, and you can tear through some of these bosses. So yeah, I found that building my team with multi-hits for their weapons went a long way. So I don't have to use BP as often, and then I could focus on nuking them once they were broken. But I could always use BP if necessary, and then swap in a back row character to hit them hard when they're broken. The strategizing, team building, boss battles become very addicting. While at first I didn't do much grinding because just your standard exploration and your quests were enough to give you the levels you needed, when I was around 30 hours in, the exploration started to open up a bit more, and I found all kinds of secret bosses that I could go fight, and I did a bit of grinding. And that gave me access to way better weapons, treasures, etc., and ooh boy, that became a loop until I had to get to the quest. And around 40 or 50 hours, I was like level 55, taking on level 35 or 36 quests. But even with my power level being over 9,000,
it's over 9,000!
the stories and the boss battles were still very compelling. But I'm not ready to talk about the story yet, because we gotta talk about the town building first, so just calm down. We'll get there. The town building in this game starts pretty basic. You get some houses in there, you invite some people, eventually you can farm a little bit, get some animals, you can build a tavern where there's all kinds of special dishes, but I benefited immensely from focusing on getting Wishvale rebuilt as fast as possible. For example, just when I was like, man, with this many characters in the game, I wish there was some way to like level them up without having them in your party, boom, training center. And many of the big facilities can be upgraded to include more perks for the rest of the game. Eventually, this town becomes a resource machine, and you can make it all pretty. Unless you're absolutely terrible at design and, you just put houses right next to each other, for practical purposes. And I don't know, you may be the chosen hero, but it doesn't mean you're like an interior designer. I mean, come on. You can only do so much. Am I right? And while I did max out the town by, finishing the quests for Wishvale, there were always things to upgrade, always things to build out. There was still more people I could recruit and get more perks. And there are so many benefits for continuing to invest in the town. And remember those secret bosses I mentioned earlier? Yeah, they don't only give you access to treasure chests with powerful new items and weapons, but they also drop radiant cornerstones that you can use for upgrading. Oh, and there's some other secret bosses that you could eventually, get in a Coliseum, and you can fight them later for more perks and more bonuses. And I think that's what makes this game so freaking good. Every single thing that you can do ties into other things that you can chase down. Like, nothing feels wasted in this game. And everything you do increases your fame, wealth, and power. And those stats going up along with your levels can impact the success rate of your path actions. Yeah, you thought we were done with mechanics? Ha! From the get-go, you can investigate almost every NPC to get a little backstory. But sometimes, along with buckets of trauma, they also give you an item, some recipes, or even the ability to invite them to Wishvale where they have tons of extra perks, like I mentioned before. Like more experience for trained characters, or faster harvest for food, or gifts, or more items in the shop. You also have the option to do things like hire or recruit, to summon them in battle, or you can contend or entreat. If you entreat, they just straight up give you stuff. It almost feels like they took stealing from Octopath 1 and 2 and went, well, we're supposed to be the good guys, so we can't really steal it from them, so maybe we just ask them nicely and they'll give us things. And yet, at the same time, we have contend. If they won't just give you the crap you want, you can contend with them or fight with them, So you might see some grandma hanging out with a forbidden blade and you think, you know what? I really need that, Granny, so I'm just gonna beat you up for it because, we're the chosen one with a pure heart.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
Anyway, the higher your overall status, the higher the chance people will just shower you with gifts. And that is exactly why I need 7,000 subscribers by Christmas, because I want to be showered by gifts from Santa Claus. But for real now, if you could subscribe, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Now, if you fail at any of these path actions, as in you have like a 3% chance to entreat and you don't get it 5 times, it will mess up your reputation in town. So then what you have to do is you need to go to the tavern and then pay a dude to start spreading rumors about you being a good guy to improve your reputation by manipulating townsfolk, because that's what heroes do. But anyway, the true heroic path is vow never to manipulate the townspeople and instead save reset like 20 or 30 times until you get that forbidden blade with a 3% chance. That way, no townsperson is harmed in the making of this loadout. Honestly though, the game was pretty balanced with progression. While I did get some stupid gear early on this way, I also didn't grind enough to get the top armor or the most expensive items in the game at any time, and I had a perfectly fine time making my way through the story. I'm not gonna say it's like easy all the time, but it is pretty balanced. So I would just spend the most money on good gear for characters that were clearly struggling to try to fill some of those gaps, and it worked out just fine. Also, did I mention you get a boat in this game and you can sail the high seas and find some crazy new places with extra bosses and amazing gear? I mean, this game just keeps going. Okay, but now we will get to the story. I will not be spoiling anything here, but I want to give you sort of the broad strokes of what you're getting into. So let me start by being very, very clear. If you're a mom or your dad and you're going through the store shopping for little Bobby B for Christmas and you see this game and you think, wow, what a beautiful cover, what beautiful artwork, and how serene the scene, you need to know that this is not really a game for little Bobby B, this is a game for big Bobby B. Because some of these stories get incredibly dark. Like, if you hear anyone on the internet talking about how Octopath was made for kids, they're rage baiting and they have clearly never played these games and have no idea what they're talking about. You start with the concept of these rings. Alfric, the Flamebringer, has a ring for the Chosen, and then there are these other rings that have power that can be corrupted by the evil hearts of their bearers. And out the gate, the destruction of Wishvale is brutal. And then when you start chasing down the characters, the crazy psychopaths who did the damage, somehow it gets way darker, like way more unhinged. And while I started many of the paths being like, is revenge like really the path of the pure-hearted hero? I ended with like, okay, yeah, like this dude needs to die immediately and without mercy. And then it progresses and it gets even more intense and brutal. Like, don't get me wrong, this game has its levity and it's beautiful and some of the scenes and the music can be fantastic, but this game gets into themes of deeply rooted evil that impacts every level of Orstera. This isn't just like cartoony bad guys, though some of them have loose influences to certain beloved Final Fantasy villains. This is like traumatic, twisted, deep, dark, and evil. And you'll never have much confidence on who is going to live or die. Like, if there's one lesson I've learned from this game, it's like, if you think he's dead, hit him again, and then walk away. And while the stories are disconnected to some degree, they all feed into the upcoming arcs with the rings in mind. Honestly, it was kind of genius to have the Wishvale rebuilding questline in parallel with the revenge arc, because it can get so dark sometimes that, I don't know, there are just moments where you want to go back to Wishvale and, I don't know, make people's lives better and build something up and see some progress and, I don't know, make people smile. You can get these party chats back there where you see the characters interact, a la Octopath Traveler 2, and it's a nice break to just dig into some of the more positive lore and positive character interactions. But seriously, after 50 plus hours of this game, I am absolutely loving it, and I will 100% this game. This is my favorite Octopath Traveler game so far, and that's not to say anything negative about the other games. I loved them. I have collector's editions of them. I have their physical soundtracks. Like, I have loved this series since it started. But if you'll permit me, like, this game almost makes me hate mobile games even more. Like, this is a fantastic game with a great story, fun characters, all the good stuff you want in an RPG. But that tells me that by making it a mobile game first, they took all of what was good in an RPG and they built it around all of the stupid, addictive gacha mechanics. And that just feels so wrong to me. Like, this game feels like it never should have been a mobile game to begin with. But, to be fair, this does make me hopeful for the future. I'd love to see more current mobile games translated into actual games like this, without any of the predatory monetization. Because that would give us a way to play these games and enjoy them as full gaming experiences well after the server shut down, because you know that's going to happen sometime. So despite my initial concerns about that mobile foundation, I would consider this a day one type of game. Like, it's long, it's about 80 to 100 hours to complete from what I understand. But even after my 50 plus hours, I don't feel any desire to slow down. In fact, the opposite is true. This game just keeps getting better and better and better. It's just more fun, more intriguing. I absolutely love this game. If you're looking for a JRPG to sink into, especially this Christmas, add this to the top of the list. It far exceeded my expectations, and I expect that it will for you too. Honestly, I would love to see them do something like that, except in the continent for Octopath Traveler 2, where maybe we can get some side characters from Octopath 2 as well. So let's make it happen, Square Enix. Thanks again, Square Enix, for giving me this code to check this game out. And if you want to hear more of my takes on this one, check out the Level Up Legacy podcast or join us in the Level Up Legacy Discord server. We will be talking about this and many other games to come. And once I beat this game completely, which will be shortly at this point, you know I'll be gushing about it on the podcast. You can find links in the description below. And with that, thanks for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one. See ya!